De journey die we de afgelopen 8, 9 jaar hebben gedaan in dit soort events. Een event organiseren met maar één doel. En dat is om de online automotive beter te maken. Om de beste content te delen met elkaar. Om morgen weer dat stukje beter te zijn. En ja, eigenlijk heb ik er ook wel een beetje iets in. Want dit is de eerste keer dat we zo vol huis hebben, omdat ik niet op de sprekersschema sta, zeg maar. Maar goed, maakt ook niet uit. We hebben bijzonder goede sprekers vandaag. Ik ben er ontzettend trots op de line-up die we hebben, met de content die we ook hebben. Gisteren zijn we al in Antwerpen geweest voor de Belgische markt. En wat Steven, wat Malte en wat Kevin zometeen u gaan mededelen, gaan brengen aan content om het morgen een stukje beter te kunnen doen, daar ben ik overtuigd van dat we dat ook kunnen waarmaken. De online automotive beter te maken. En vaak is het ook zo met dit soort events, is dat het maar gaat om één stukje content. Het hoeft maar één zin te zijn die je denkt van, daar kan ik wat mee. En een aantal jaren geleden, 6 jaar geleden, was ik bij de NEDA. En toen zei David Kane, je moet een lead altijd beantwoorden met een vraag, met een vraagteken. En sinds die tijd gebruik ik het altijd. Dat is de derde regel in de online rules. Altijd afsluiten met een vraagteken. Het was maar één zinnetje. Maar het gaf wel één zinnetje waar wij voor willen staan. De online automotive beter maken in alles. En dat kan uiteraard niet zonder de partners die we hebben. Want vanaf dag 1 hebben we het, als die verder mag, heren. Want ik doe op next, maar hij doet niks. Vanaf het begin hebben we eigenlijk te maken gehad dat we dit event gratis willen doen. In die zin gratis willen doen dat we de deelname hiervan kosteloos willen aanbieden aan voor degene waarvoor we het doen. En dat zijn de dealers, dat zijn de autobedrijven, dat zijn de leasemaatschappijen en dat zijn de importeurs. Wij hebben een taak, zeg maar, om elkaar beter te maken. En zoals jullie wellicht weten, hebben we een wekelijkse een podcast waar bijvoorbeeld ook You Name It, UCC, Active Vries actief aan deelnemen om mij te helpen om dat elke week te mogen doen. Maar het kan natuurlijk ook niet zonder andere partners. En het kan ook niet zonder marktplaats in die zin. En ik ben er ontzettend trots op dat ik de woordvoerder mag zijn, de ambassadeur mag zijn van zo'n aanmerk. Maar voornamelijk ook omdat het een beursgenoteerde onderneming is die een woordvoerder heeft, die mag schrijven wat hij wil. En dat is dus uniek. Want ik schrijf ook wel eens dingen die ze niet altijd leuk vinden. Maar dat je daardoor eigenlijk ook de ruimte krijgt om te kunnen doen wat je eigenlijk het liefst wil doen, de online automotive beter te maken, ben ik zo ontzettend dankbaar voor. Aan de andere kant wou ik er één partner uitlichten. En dat is Autosoft. En waarom Autosoft eruit lichten, dat is namelijk het volgende. Ik had met Wouter de volgende discussie. Hij zei van, joh, ik wil graag partner worden. Ik wil graag samen met jou de online automotive beter maken. Maar ik wil niet dat de concurrentie er staat. Ik zeg, dat gaat niet. Ik zeg, want we moeten het met elkaar doen. Dus ja, RDC mag er ook staan. Ja, Wielerdelta mag er ook staan. En toen zei hij van, Paul, je hebt gelijk. We moeten samen de online automotive beter maken. Dus dank Wouter en zijn team om samen met mij dit te mogen organiseren. Dat we dit allemaal gratis kunnen doen voor degene waarvoor we het willen doen. En dan waar u eigenlijk voor komt, de content. Als eerste wil ik uitnodigen op het podium Malte Krüger. De CEO van mobiele.de, de grootste automotive website in Europa. Onderdeel ook van eBay. Maar ik heb laatst een podcast met Malte gedaan. En normaliter, op het moment dat ik een podcast doe en ik stel de vragen, dan weet ik zo'n beetje wel wat de antwoorden zouden zijn. Want ik probeer een student te zijn van mijn vak. Maar Malte gaf continu andere antwoorden. Waarvan ik dacht van, goh, ja, daar zit ook wel een punt in. Dus ontzettend veel respect voor de persoon, voor de visie die deze man met zich meebrengt om u allemaal te helpen om die online automotive beter te maken. Malte, I want to introduce you and give him a warm applause. Malte Krüger.
Thank you, Paul, and sorry for speaking in not German, but English, because my Dutch is not really fluent, so hopefully that's okay for you guys. So, hopefully you bear with me. I think it's a kind of a slide storm. I have a lot of slides, not a lot of content in it, but hopefully the story flows quite nicely, and hopefully you have tons of questions to ask. Just before I really start into the content, I just want to give you a short introduction on myself. Thanks, Paul, for doing that. Malte Krüger. I'm in the industry for around 20 years now. Founded my own company in 1999, went to AutoScout. Somebody here from AutoScout? No. Founded another one and joined eBay and Mobile around 10 years ago, heading into my second sabbatical, which is great. And I'm just saying, in Germany, when I visit dealers, which I do quite frequently every quarter to get a little bit out of the building and get some insights and learning and tons of questions, it's always, it's great to be here and get all your questions. And let's get started into eBay Classifieds to get a little bit of insight. I think it's better standing up, actually. eBay Classifieds, it's a group of classifieds companies around the globe. I guess you will recognize a couple of companies, Marktplaats, Mobile, eBay Kleinanzeigen, but also companies like Kijiji in Canada, Gumtree in Australia and the UK, Danish business. We are market leader in most of the markets that we operate in, and we employ around 1,500 people, and we are almost $1 billion revenue company, which is quite sizable, I would say. Motors is sizable, as you can see in eBay Classifieds. We serve around 70,000 dealer customers, which is a pretty big number, also only in Europe. We have 400 million visits per month on our motors entities, which is, I think, pretty huge and we should be proud of. And almost 2 million private listings on our site, which really drives our flywheel going forward. So that is making us really proud, but coming a little bit closer to home, the companies that I represent, or Annemarie and the team from Marktplaats represent in Tweedehands, looking at our competitive positioning in terms of visits versus competition, but also in terms of dealers versus competition. I think that looks quite compelling for the dealer customers, but all the automotive industry. These numbers actually make us super proud, but really inspire us to do even more. And these numbers are good, but I would say I have a little bit more good news for you and for all of us in the end in the automotive industry. Because for most people, and a lot of people are talking about new trends and all that stuff, there is no alternative to driving their own or owning their own car. Why is that the case? And that's a German number, so bear with me. A lot of insights are from Germany, but I think they're applicable even to the Dutch market, to the UK market. 82% of the people cannot imagine living without their own car. And in Germany, and I live in Berlin, and if you live in Munich or in Hamburg or in Amsterdam, you think about like, why do you own a car? There's no parking space. I need just a bike, definitely in Amsterdam, and I do that too when I'm in Amsterdam. You don't need your own bike anymore, your own car anymore. But if you live in rural areas, and 2/3 of the German population, they don't live in Munich, they don't live in Berlin, they do need an own car to get from A to B. And for them, it's not kind of a dream come true to live without a car, it's more of a nightmare. Looking at what the automotive industry is talking about, and that are, I think, these topics. They talk about connected cars, they talk about shared mobility, e-mobility, autonomous driving, all those topics. And I do believe these are super relevant, they're super important, but are these the topics that makes us sell more cars? I don't really think so. We in eBay Classifieds, we in Mobile, we in Marktplaats and Tweedehands believe we need to simplify and we need to digitize the car buying journey. That's our first priority, to sell more cars. To do that, we need to really understand the real pain points for the consumers. And I will talk later on how to do that. And if we do that one, we're gonna sell more cars, even electric ones. I don't really care. We have a pretty easy mantra in Mobile, and I think a lot of other classifieds players have that the same. We always take it from the consumer angle, from the car buyer angle, because we believe If we make it easier for a consumer to search for a car and to find a car, it's way easier for you dealers to sell your cars. Pretty obvious, but I think it's always important to state that easy message. So look at a couple of numbers. Is it really easy or is it really hard to buy a car in today's car buying process? Just two really easy numbers. 90% of people would drive 30 more minutes for a better customer experience. And 30 more minutes, I think it's quite a bit in times where everybody has no time. And the more astonishing number is the next one, and some people that know me for quite some time on stage know that number and that grumpy old man here. Less than 1% are happy with the car buying process. That's a Roland Berger study from, I think, 17 or something. That's kind of nobody. Less than 1 is nobody for me. So it's a lot of grumpy old mans here. And that's pretty bad feedback for all of us. It's not only to dealers or to car manufacturers, that's to us too. We're not doing a good job. So we should take that seriously. But you can turn that around and say like, less than 1% or nobody. That's a huge opportunity. So we can do better all together. Not only us, you, we together. I think that's where we need to look at. So after reading those numbers and many more, we did market research internally. We looked at tons of external research and surveys to really understand what are the consumer pain points. What do we really need to solve for? We started by looking at this here. So what should the ideal car buying process look like? Tons of dimensions. And what is the actual state of kind of the nation and the car buyer? Where's the difference the biggest? And you can see it's not really fair and transparent in red. It's not serious and trustworthy. And it's definitely not smooth as well. And it's not uncomplicated. So a lot of stuff to solve. That's on a really high level. That's just the big buckets that we need to look at. Secondly, what is also important is look at the timing. When is the pain point the biggest? Is it early in the car buying process or is it pretty late? And it's pretty easy to read from that chart. The biggest pain point is not around the orientation phase, as we call it. So what kind of car should I buy? What kind of make should I drive? What kind of model should I drive? It's not even in the kind of searching phase, because everybody now is familiar with classified sites and other sites. It's really after people sending out the lead or calling somebody, and then where consumer pain point increases along the journey. And it's about evaluating the car, evaluating the price of the dealer. It's a test drive, it's financing, and it's negotiation of the price. So that's quite interesting. So looking at these two, we said, like, what are the 5 biggest pain points? And here's number 1. Number 1, and maybe not surprising for many of you, because I guess you have been all in that industry for quite some time, more than 50% of all German consumers say, we are not happy with the transparency that the market is providing me on all those 3 dimensions. So I don't know what car to buy, what is right for me, or is it even the so-called lemon? Number 2 is it a fair price, or is a dealer ripping me off? Or is a dealer a good one or a bad one? Should I really want to talk to those guys? What did we take as a learning, and what did we do in Mobile? And that was quite a bumpy journey, I must admit. We introduced dealer ratings 4 years ago. Big uproar in the German market. A lot of dealers hated us, kind of me sometimes personally, I think. But we said this is industry standard. People just wanting transparency. And now we have 1.1 million dealer reviews on the site. Quite a big number, creating a lot of transparency on who do you want to deal with and who not. Second one, we introduced price ratings, or price transparency as we call it, and that was even a bigger one. Dealers hated us even more. But we also said, this is something what consumer really wants, and if people see it and see dealer reviews and see price transparency ratings, you're getting better conversion on your site, and we're proving it. And last but not least, we bought Motor Talk 4 years ago. That's a content and editorial site. We're providing a lot of information and vehicle posts every day to our car buyers. So that's number 1, pain point. Number 2 is the arrangement of the test drive. And you can see the number on the top. A lot of people think it's a lot of burden. And if you do it by yourself, and I'm actually in the car buying process by myself again, it's really hard to schedule a test drive. The car is not available. I don't have the time. So what are the solutions? And this time I'm not going to look at Mobile or somebody in eBay Classifieds, just looking at some examples that are out there and live on other sites and with dealers. Number 1 is a startup. It's not really a startup anymore, called Shift in San Francisco. I think they're valued at over $2 billion and going to go public next year. They deliver your test drive to your home or to your office because you don't have the time anymore to do that. And what I found even better, I found that really by accident, is this Morris Auto Group in Minnesota. I think they're located, pretty big auto group. And they have a 7-day return policy. No hassle, you can bring it back without any big paperwork. I think that really drives trust. If you want to do something like this, I think it's really appealing to consumers. Pain point number 3 is selling your old car as a private seller, not as a dealer, obviously. Because this one is like, what kind of price is right? Because pricing your old car is really a lot of effort, and you don't know what the price or what kind of price is right. And then you have a lot of people coming to your home. Maybe you don't want that. You want a different process. So we saw like we need to answer that pain point as well. We can do something about it. And in Mobile, we offered our own C2B solution. We started that 2.5 years ago. So we're driving consumer satisfaction because they have a new way of selling their old car, but we also deliver great new sourcing capacity for our dealers. We're working with 400 qualified dealers in Germany. That's sufficient enough to serve the whole German population. We're driving, as you can see, pretty good numbers, 25,000 appointments per month with kind of these sourcing opportunities, with a pretty big increase year over year, which we are quite happy about. Next one is price negotiation. I think a lot of people think price negotiation is kind of what we do as consumers, and we also always want the lower price. We want to negotiate the price down, and the consumers are doing it. But in the end, haggling is not in our DNA. Maybe it's in Morocco, and I've been there 2 years ago, and everybody needs to haggle, and I did a bad job in doing it, and I think I got ripped off, but anyway. But they don't like to do it. And again, I didn't look at what we are doing, but what can the industry do? And there I found a nice example of Toyota. I don't think it's in the US, I think it's actually in New Zealand, I need to look it up. They set up a upfront haggle-free pricing model, as I call it, because they believe in Toyota that it's not about the lowest price per se, but it's about price security to drive to the market. And the prices that they're setting, they're the same on all channels. You don't get any discounts, and that's what consumers really, really like. And last but not least, it's about pain point number 5. It's financing and insurance. And I think everybody has done it. It's a lot of paperwork. You have to fill out a lot of forms, a lot of personal information, a lot about security things that you care about, and it's way too complicated. So we thought, as every second car in Germany is financed anyway, we thought, like, okay, we need to have a better solution, but looking at the consumers, but also looking at what is in for the dealers. So we launched our own financing portal or offer 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago. It drives a lot of visitors. Consumer NPS, so Net Promoter Score, where we measure customer satisfaction, is really high. And as you can see, we're driving more leads to the dealers because the leads are more qualified because we provide insurance information and a pre-qualified finance approval. So as we think this is pretty amazing what the experience for consumers, but also for the dealers in Germany, and we have a strong proposition with Marktplatz and Tweederhand in the Benelux, we are definitely thinking about rolling similar things out to the Netherlands, and that's why it is stay tuned for more. I think we will inform you as soon as we can. And any more questions, I think the Dutch team and the Benelux team is happy to answer, and me as well. And that's it. I think the one thing I want you to take away is that all of us need to solve it. It's not only on the classified portals or on the dealers or on the car manufacturers or on the banks that are working with us on financing. It's on all of us. And then if we really do it and collaborate and do that together, I really think we have an amazing opportunity and amazing future together. Thank you very much.
Malte, thank you. Zijn er nog vragen voor Malte? Ja.
Misschien ben ik nou een beetje brutaal door te zeggen dat ik het eigenlijk alleen een presentatie vind van cijfers en nog maar weinig advies richting deze onervaren zaal krijg, zeg maar.
Nee, maar Juriaan, jij bent een van de meest ervaren deelnemers hier. Maar heb je een specifieke vraag die je zou willen stellen die nog niet beantwoord is?
Ja, ik denk dat ik die vraag zo dadelijk nog wel ga stellen.
Malte, about the car buying and the calculation about the cars. Can you explain that more? Because the 25,000 appointments, what's that for a service?
Yeah, that's kind of our C2B model. So we in classifieds you usually have the listing model. So a private seller goes to Mobile or to Marktplaats and say like, I want to list that car on your site. And usually it's a freemium model. In that one, he decides, I want to trade in my car. I want to go to one of the 400 dealers I talked about, get an offer, online pricing estimation from us, and then he gets 3 dealers in his area, and then he drives to the dealer. They look at the car again and say like, you can drive away and get 10,000 euro right away. So you can get a higher price usually, have a listing model on Mobile, or you go to the C2B model to one of the 400 dealers, you get the money right away, usually for a little bit lower price.
So it's the service for the dealer to buy in more private cars.
Yes, it's a sourcing opportunity from privates.
Julia.
Ja, moet toch in het Engels voor deze meneer. In one of your first sheets, you're having percentages of 1% or less people who don't like the process of buying a car.
Yeah.
But we all know there are a lot of portals who, where you can buy a car online. So I don't think those people will say, well, it was a bad experience.
I think it's still a bad. So if you were in the car buying process, and I think all the, oh, I'm gonna fall. Yeah, thank you. I think it's still cumbersome. I think it's a big investment that you're making buying a car. It's an average. It's like in Germany, used car it's 15,000. In new car it's like 25,000. So it's a big investment. You're spending a lot of time, and even then that you buy it, it's still not a good process. I think if you're improving it, you get a way higher NPS. And looking at the NPS in the car buying industry is really low comparing it to all other consumer goods. So I think still lots of room to grow. And our assumption is if you improve that one, you will have a faster selling process. In the end, hopefully sell a little bit more cars. Our equation in Germany is 7 million used cars, 3 million new cars. I think we can really drive that to whatever, make it 8 and 4. I think we really can make that happen by improving that process.
Yes.
So Mobile has a German focus, and Autoscout has a European focus. What is Mobile going to do to have a European focus or a Dutch focus?
Good question.
Yeah, no, actually, Mobile is a pan-European buying hub, as we call it. So we have a lot of international dealer customers being on our site. We have a lot of language versions. We don't have kind of operations in any country, but we have more than 5,000 customers from abroad, not German dealers, and more than 30% of our traffic is from international. So even though we don't have these specific country sites, we have language sites and more traffic than Autoscout combined from their local entities. So it's not quite the same. It looks different from the outside. From the inside, it looks a little bit different. Yeah. So we're not expanding. We're not looking into going into markets, because then we have Marktplaats as our kind of sister company, or Tweederhans, or Gumtree, or in Bilbaas and DBA in Denmark. I think we have to just combine it a little better to drive more cross-European, cross-border trade. No ideas yet how we do it, but it's going to be on our long-term horizon.
Okay, Malte, thank you very much for this opportunity to that you will be here. 2%. Thank you. And I want to say that the deck we can go over with the people. Yes? Okay.
Sure. No
Thank you
secrets.
very much.
You're welcome.
Geef me een
Thank
big
you.
applaus.